Thank you very much, Lawrence. Our second keynote speaker is Mr. Frank Escandell, Director of Corporate Partnerships at Odyssey in Spain. Odyssey is the observatory of the social and ethical impacts and artificial intelligence, and it is a globally recognized independent, non-profit, action-oriented think tank dedicated to shape a responsible and ethical future for artificial intelligence. It has become an international benchmark for ethical AI by bridging the gap between society, civil society, academia, and industry, fostering a multi-stakeholder dialogue to ensure that AI development benefits society as a whole. Odyssey has joined the UNESCO Global CSO and Academic Network of AI Ethics and Policy, and has partnered with Deloitte to support the Spanish government's Secretary of State for Digitalization and Artificial Intelligence in the execution of its national AI strategy, including an AI regulatory sandbox in Spain. Frank is actively involved in Odyssey's work on the societal implication of artificial intelligence. He co-leads the working group Future Professions, New Opportunities and Requirements within the Google-supported CAIR project, which investigates the impacts of artificial intelligence on the future of work. He is also a prominent communicator and host of the Voces de Odyssey podcast series, where he explored topics ranging from algorithm bias and privacy to green artificial intelligence and artificial intelligence regulation. His expertise at the intersection of AI ethics, governance, and societal impacts makes him an ideal voice for this session. Frank's keynote is entitled Responsible AI in the Agri-Food Sector, Ethics and Regulatory for Trusted Innovation, a perspective that brings the ethical and regulatory debate squarely into our session today. So Frank, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Wow, I am a prominent communicator. Thank you. Yes, please. Thank you. Is it the one up there? Yeah? Okay. So, first of all, I know it's hard. Okay, it's 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. In the absence of caffeine, I hope you actually can stand my accent. You don't know where my accent is from, do you? Okay, 1 second. Okay. See, is that this is institutional? Just in case, I brought this up with me. Just in case. See, it's up. It's up and running. Okay. So, first of all, happy Father's Day. You know, it's a big day here in Spain. San Jose, yeah. Pepe, Pepa, Pipi, whatever. Yeah. Perfect. It's wonderful. Let me put my, being a prominent communicator as I am, apparently. Thank you very much, Professor Parra. There you are. Well, thank you very much, first of all, to Dr. Rosa Gallardo and the International Chair of Artificial Intelligence in Agriculture, and the attendance of includes researchers, policymakers, and industry stakeholders from across Europe and other parts of the world. I also forgot to say, buenas tardes, and eftermiddag. That's correct, I hope. Oh, wait a minute, that's Danish. I'm sorry. That's Danish, I'm sorry. He's not Danish. And also, I would like to communicate, basically, that next year, this From Farm to Fork is wonderful. Next year, Professor Gallardo, we should tell the ministry to name it From Farm to Fork, the Moon, Mars, and Beyond. This is wonderful, like the theme of it. Yes? Good. So, this presentation is not intended as a deep academic analysis combining regulatory frameworks with a practical implementation. I come from, I'm not an academic, I come from a business development for technology background. So this is going to be a teaser today, most definitely. So here's my contact information for later on or the next days. Okay, in Odisea, as Professor Parra has just mentioned, we're a nonprofit think tank, think and do tank. It's not only thinking, but we actually act and do things. And so here's my contact. Go ahead and shoot me. All right. So three main points here. And I'm going to read them so that you can see the translation for being recorded. People can actually read it in the Spanish. It's AI transformation in agri-food systems, ethical challenges and principles, building trustworthy AI ecosystem. These are the three main points. So let's get to that. All right. Yes, we're fine. Yes. We all know what AI has been doing all these years, especially the last 2 or 3 years, and all the smokestack, as Professor Clark has mentioned, all this smokestack and all these the speak of expectations. He referred to the hype cycle, basically. We'll talk about that in 1 second. So I will try to add to the magnificent lectures I have witnessed today. I'm going to remember the one from Professor Fontas and a couple of them as well. Wonderful. We'll have a chat later on. Is correct? Yes. So here's an example. You all know this. So I had to go and learn from this stuff because this is the first time Odyssey actually deals with the agri-food sector. It's a wonderful learning experience right now. So you all know these cases, but hear it from someone who is outside the circle in this case. One example, as you already know, this precision agriculture. This is John Deere's see and spray technology using computer vision to detect weeds and apply herbicides with 90% reduction in chemical use. I'll go fast. Okay, when it comes to opportunities and promises, boy, the promises. We talk about, as you can see on the first point, the sustainability impact on precision agriculture, reducing, for example, fertilizer usage from 20 to 30%, decreasing nitrogen, apparently that's very important for you guys, and environmental pollution, that's important for everybody else. And also the point on food security, the United Nations FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization, for those listening out there, estimates that AI technologies, this is amazing, AI technologies could increase global food production by 70% by the year 2050, while reducing the agricultural land by 15%. What a piece of information. Take a look at this one. I went and actually read this article. It's an amazing example on how you don't need billions and billions of euros or dollars to implement agri-food tech intelligent and rationally. So on this example, for example, on AI and the reinvention on African agriculture in this case, it was a focus on mobile AI apps providing personalized crop advice to 2.3 million smallholder farmers in Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda, demonstrating technology's democratization potential. So some of the lecturers have spoken about that as well. So, as you all know, there is on the EU AI Act, of course, and also the 2019 European Commission's ethics guideline for trustworthy AI. That was like a century ago, 2019, in terms of ethical AI. There are certain categories of ethical challenges, but what I actually try to do for today, for you folks today, is to summarize my own version of it. So I actually summarized it on 4 main points, as you can see here. We all know the agri-food sector faces unique challenges given its centrality to human survival, of course, and rural livelihoods. The ethical challenges aren't obstacles. Here's something that some people say that excessive regulation could, but regulation itself or the ethical challenges aren't obstacles to overcome. They are actually ongoing tensions requiring continuous negotiation among stakeholders, something that we have actually heard that today. So agricultural AI ethics, as seen from this perspective, intersects multiple domains. We all know environmental ethics, data, labor, and food justice. Also, there's another key observation from someone who is not an academic on this field. What I observed, and please correct me if I'm mistaken, of course. Unlike consumer-facing AI, agricultural AI operates in context with power asymmetries, meaning large businesses versus smallholders, making ethical deployment inherently political. Everybody went silent. You hear that? All right. So another observations here. I'll read this for the translation, all right? Only 38% of European farms under 20 hectares use any digital technologies compared to 87% of farms over 100 hectares, what we just referred to. And in terms of the Global South, less than 5% of smallholder farmers producing 35% of the world's food have access to digital agricultural advisory services. For those of you, the agronomist, being educated here, that is some big business right there. We all know about the human factor, of course. That's some big business. Okay. So there is a risk of creating a two-tier agriculture where technology-enabled farms gain competitive advantages, accelerating consolidation and rural depopulation that we know in Spanish called La España vacía, La España vaciada, the emptied Spain, that is called. It's not only in Spain that is happening. All right. So here's another of these ethical challenges. I call it transparency and explainability, or XI, or XAI, as one would call it. Survey of 1,200 European farmers found 68%, watch this, and I quote, do not understand how AI systems reach recommendations, leading to 45% of them ignoring AI advice when it contradicts experience. There's the farmer. And also food safety inspectors report the difficulty verifying AI-based quality control decisions, creating regulatory compliance challenges. It takes us to the black box. Just mentioned that. Also, that we heard that before. The black box refers to this difficulty in understanding and interpreting the internal workings of AI. So AI is like one of those psychologists, I guess. Just about the same, like you would say that. So regarding transparency and explainability in agri-food, the EU AI Act, Article 13, mandates transparency for high-risk systems. And that also means, here's another observation, that also means requiring agricultural machinery, okay, to, say, provide explanations accessible to operators without seemingly, and I say seemingly, specialized training. That's the EdTech. Right? Okay, so accountability and responsibility. Here's another one. 73% of agricultural AI systems lack clear mechanisms for challenging or appealing AI-generated decisions and affecting farmer livelihoods. Affecting. There's a double F there. It's missing. So basically, and here's another point. Human oversight requirements, as per the EU AI Act, mandates, and I quote, meaningful human oversight for high-risk AI systems. So here's the problem. What constitutes meaningful? So that's the catchy term right there. Something that you will have to solve, of course, for the sector itself. All right. So here's another proposal or teasing for today. I'm teasing you today. We'll have a lot of conversations on the coming days, hopefully. So 4 of them. I'll read them again for the translation. Human-centric design, prioritizing farmer needs, algorithmic fairness and bias mitigation, transparency through explainable AI methods, just so that, and robust validation in real-world agricultural settings. Now, we all know that compliance with regulatory requirements represents necessary but insufficient conditions for responsible AI deployment. It is not sufficient. It's not enough. Okay, so building truly trustworthy AI ecosystem requires proactive commitment to ethical principle, stakeholder engagement, and continuous improvement beyond minimal legal standards. So here's a question. Yeah, we all hear about humanocentric or human-centric and all these terms. Oh yeah, well, the human in the loop, human on the loop, which is 2 different approaches. But always human. No. It's not human-centric. It is data-centric, all right? So this is the technical side of Frank kicking in, I'm sorry. So it is the recognition that farmers, and I want to say this, what I mean to say by this is farmers are also domain experts. As our beautiful Aitana explained to us at the beginning, AI should augment, not replace, agricultural knowledge. AI co-designs processes involving farmers from conception, not just as user testing. Here's the challenge for you. Another one that I had to read, wonderful. I was reading to this because, first time in agri-food industry, it was fantastic. Okay, so looking for material for this algorithmic fairness and bias mitigation. Professor Parra, please control my time, sir. Thank you, appreciate that. This article was really something else. I really recommend it. Of course you've read it. But bias mitigation in training data, ensuring data sets, again, data-centric. Data set represents diverse farm types, regions, crops, management systems, and research in agricultural AI. Showing the effective bias mitigation requires this training data set. And a lack of diversity in training data should be considered a qualitative failure. Please correct me if I am mistaken. Yep. Good. All right. You know that word up in the center? Who knows that word? Lime. It's not the one, the lemon, no. Who knows what lime is? Okay. So lime is L-I-M-E. All right? I'm talking about XAI right now. Local, interpretable, model-agnostic explanations. It is simply a method to generate local explanations from any machine learning model. So that you ask the algorithm, please explain how have you reached such and such alternative proceedings and so forth. Basically, this is the solution for the black box problem. Okay, what can I say about this? You know everything about this. You know everything about this. That a principle of trustworthy AI is basically this robust validation in real world. It's just maybe that you're gonna have to add something else to it, but you know that this is, this is absolutely. You guys actually play it out because there is nothing I can say about that. You are the scientist. And basically, try to come up with these recommendations when it comes to AI ethics, of course, not in agri-food. I'll refer to each one of these 4 out of 5 points as key recommendations. 1, create internal AI ethics multidisciplinary committees. Governance framework should precede AI deployment, not be retrofitted. Remember, we are in the European Union. Okay? And also track governance effectiveness through incident rates, stakeholder satisfaction, ethical audit outcomes. 2, clear accountability chains mapping AI systems components to responsible individuals and entities. Chain of value. 3, user interfaces accessible to users with varying technical literacy with multilingual support. 3, or subsidized training programs focused on underserved communities. And 4, I'm not going into investment notes. That's point 5. So 4, implement emerging agricultural data space standards and participate in or establish farmer-controlled data intermediaries. And I'm going to read this, even though it's kind of long, because I think it's very important that later on people actually read this, because I'm wrapping up. I think I'm good in time. It says, and I quote myself, actually. The integration of AI into agri-food systems represents a critical juncture, requiring intentional choices about technological trajectories. The default path, unconstrained commercial deployment, optimizing narrow efficiency metrics, risk exacerbating existing inequities, concentrating power, and neglecting broader social and environmental values. The alternative path, responsible and ethical AI, I should add, governed by robust ethics, comprehensive regulation, and inclusive multi-stakeholder processes, remains possible but demands sustained commitment and political will. We have to work towards the default path, or the alternative path, becoming the default path. So here's a challenge. Here's my question to you. Want to go at it? What does that mean? I am asking you to work with us, to teach us, and for us to share with you our expertise at Odisea, okay, when it comes to AI ethics. Let's work together. I'm sure Professor Rosa Gallardo will have something to say to my boss, Dr. Idoia Salazar. I'll let the bosses speak. But if you want to go at it, let's do it. And with that, thank you. I'm sorry for the face. Thank you very much to this prominent communicator and so forth. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Frank, for this very interesting speak. Yes, now it's time to open the floor to questions in the audience. If you have any question, please. No, for the moment. Well, to open the question, both of you are talking about that agriculture is behind in digitalization compared to other sector. Lawrence, you have shown that adoption is not just slow; it is partial, non-linear, with farmer adapting, disadopting, readopting. And Frank, you have shown a huge digital divide between by farm size. So I want to challenge the current narrative. Is really agriculture behind? Or is being sensibly cautious because the stakes? So food, livelihoods, ecosystem are so high. So Do you think agriculture is genuinely falling at digitalization, or it is actually being smart by going slowly? Both you want?
Professor Clark.
Oh, okay.
I've been
thanks.
speaking for a long time.
Okay, you're tired now. Yes, Aitana would never be tired, you know. I would just do a next conference only with Aitana. Much better. Well, this thing, like this narrative of agriculture being behind, I find it an interesting narrative. You see it often, mostly also by those that want to follow the commercialization pathway. It's an untapped opportunity, let's go and do it there. But yeah, to some extent, I think it is perhaps behind compared to other sectors where they might have implemented already more technologies. But I think that's also because of the complexity, the ecological complexity. It's not as standardizable perhaps as in other sectors, not as controllable. It has different time conceptions in terms of seasonality, etc. I think, therefore, farmers perhaps are logically cautious also because the risk of failure can be quite, impactful.
But do you think that it could be an advantage not to adopt so fast? Because at the moment we are talking about the danger also of artificial intelligence. So could it be a good option to wait a little bit to be more mature artificial intelligence, or?
Well, I think perhaps what the digitalization movement also has is what professor from Germany, Sebastian Pfotenhauer, has called the paradigm of blitzscaling. So this is like go fast, break things. Next year you need to roll it out. This is this startup-led growth model. And I think, in agriculture, perhaps maybe that is not the best way to go, and maybe start smaller with some smaller experiments. I think that's also how farmers typically experiment. They start with a small part on the plot, and if they see if it works, they kind of scale it up. And perhaps that kind of conflicts a little bit with these ideas of those that are perhaps commercially interested or from a technology development perspective, that it needs to be implemented at a bigger scale quickly. So it's also about thinking how to connect well to kind of the experimentation styles of farmers and how to make it fit with that. I think that is also perhaps what some of these communities do. I think AI-AGRIFOOD was being mentioned. I think these sort of living labs, that is where they try to do that. But then I think still large-scale expansion will be difficult because there's so many diverse agro-ecosystems. So perhaps this notion of scale, we need to see it much more different in agriculture and perhaps in other sectors. And by scale, I mean scaling and wide diffusion. It's not like an Uber you can roll out all over the planet, basically.
If I may, interesting. Not from the Agri-Food point of view, of course. But from the general purpose point of view, it's not about going slow, it's about doing it right. Doing it right for your situation, where you are right now, not what you are being dictated, which is part of the, what Professor Sina Noral at MIT calls the hype machine. I want to get this right, so I'm going to say it in Spanish, la máquina de la euforia, just in case. Yeah, exactly. All right. So basically, yes, just in case, The
la euforia. ¿Quién es la euforia?
It's la euforia, exactly. There you go.
So Laurens Clerks, not la euforia.
La euforia, yeah. Sort of. So basically, it's about the way you're doing it. Not doing it as, okay, so I'm slow, I'm a turtle, or doing it as Facebook when it started years and years ago. Break everything. That was or Edward, Edward Teller is? Well, Edward Teller is you want to solve a problem? Well, detonate a hydrogen bomb. There you go. So that's not the approach. The approach is your company where you are right now.
Okay. Is there any question? Or thinking also in the debate or the question of comparing the EU with, for example, United States policies on these issues, and China, there is the idea that we are yes, behind them in this in the development of these technologies because there is a lot of regulation. What do you think about this?
Okay. You are putting me on the spot right now, really, because, okay. The boss is watching this now. When it comes to, in general terms, we lost the AI race. That's okay. We're going to find our niche now. We're going to find what to do with ourselves and how to innovate. There is so much talent in Europe, it is beyond belief. It's beyond belief. And we're going to let the US and China do their thing, but we need to educate more on AI and the AI impact so that we are not, we're not victims of the hype machine, and that we find our own way of doing things, but Napoleonic regulation is not the answer. It may be the answer for certain things, but let's try to educate first and innovate ourselves. We can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, last question for you both. If one of the goals of the Congress is to set up a future agenda for research in these topics, no? So, for you, what will be the most important research question that scientific community should focus in the next, let's say, 5-10 years to ensure a fair and sustainable digital transformation in agriculture?
Professor Clark.
God.
Okay.
Gee, this is an LLM-generated question, or did you make it yourself? Because then it's so complex,
This is
No,
not him.
Are you hallucinating, Carlos? Gee, this is a very, very complex question. Well, I'm very intrigued by the question, or trying to figure out how AI works and under what circumstances for different sorts and styles of farming. That you don't get sort of one big sort of dominant model or dominant platform, but what do you see also in terms of like AI working for agroecology farmers, AI working for smallholder farmers, AI working for big-scale farmers, how the ecosystem can deal with that diversity, or how it deals with that diversity, that for me would be an interesting question. Especially because, now it's a very corporate-led movement. Some people are also arguing this should come more from like the grassroots, from below, open source, etc. Well, it would be interesting to see how that unpacks.
Okay. I'll add to that just 2 seconds. I would say, not from a research point of view, that I'll leave that to the academics, of course. But something about the devil, No, not the devil. Something, Professor Raphael Giffred, he's sitting right there, as a matter of fact. Something is about the devil when these hardened folk, these conservative types, of course, they know very well what they're doing. To approach them and to actually offer them to accelerate education, that's a real challenge right there, because they are in the chain. I'm going to say that they're in the chain of command. Yeah, we need to do that. Yes.
Okay. Interesting. So thank you to both of
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
A big applause.
Oh,
yeah.
that's for you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias.